here. Actually, as I record this one I knew is coming up and I've been working on it, but it's still going to be late. But the good news is it'll be up this Friday, which will be 5 years since I first saw the Frisco 1630 operate. And this video is my 5th year anniversary of the first time I went to the Illinois Railway Museum, and I guess you could say it is my 5th anniversary since the first time I've been to the city of Chicago. Hard to believe it's been 5 years since our channel's second major trip, and quite honestly, it probably was our least favorite. Because of the fact that everything that was going on at the time, we attempted way too big of a trip. It was nuts. I mean, we literally jam-packed ourselves, and plus too, I had a lot of personal things going on at the time, so we were hoping for 5 days of fun, but it literally turned into about three and a half, 4 days of, can't wait to get home. This is also where I found out my favorite deep dish pizzeria place is Gregory's. I think that's how you say it. I'm probably butchering it. But yeah, 5 years ago today was the first time I stopped at the New York Central Railroad Museum. Of course, I don't think I need to really say much, but the main reason I was drawn to the New York Central Railroad Museum was because of the fact they have the New York Central 3001. And that was actually one of the coolest static locomotives I think I've ever seen. The thing I remember the most about the museum, though, is they were sticklers for the fact that they opened exactly at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I make no joke about that because literally we got there like 2 minutes beforehand and they were more or less like, we open in 2 minutes. And I was like, okay, cool. But I always remember that because it's like a minute and 30 seconds. And I remember the hype we had on this. But after that, we went downtown Chicago, which maybe we shouldn't have done on the first day. We should have went straight for Union because the main thing was we wanted to see the Illinois Railway Museum. I remember the first time I got there, and it was actually seeing this place after seeing YouTube videos of it for years. And I remember just walking around going, holy cow, this place is even bigger than I ever thought it was going to be. And while the steam locomotive collection was a lot smaller than I was expecting, I just remember me and Matt literally just walked around everything. And Chris did too, because back then we used to go our separate ways when we made museum videos, so we weren't always colliding into it, because yeah, that was always a lot of fun. But I just remember for first time seeing a Milwaukee Road in Northern, because I've always loved the 261, and I remember it was the 263 was the first one I saw. It was the first time I'd actually seen 3 surviving locomotives, and by that I mean 2 months prior I saw the 2 surviving Norfolk and Western Articulates 1218 and 2156 at the Virginia Museum of Transportation, and I actually saw the other survivor 2050. That was also during the time when we were still anticipating 1309 would be running in the fall, and I remember how hyped we were for that, and then that took like 4 years later. 4 years later, but and then afterwards, the rest of the trip really just fell apart. Like, that was really the one day of the trip I remember, and then just after that, it was just... See, the issue was this was our first major trip without founding member Go. This was 6 months after he left, and we already had started planning this adventure back in January. So we had ideas, and instead of staying with a reasonable limit, we always blamed it on the fact that we just had way too much jam-packed in there for a 4-day stay in Chicago. Chicago wasn't also supposed to be the only major city we hit up. To a degree, we lived up to that. We spent 2 days pretty much around the Chicagoland area. And the second day, we went to the Museum of Science and Industry, which hands down is still one of my favorite museums I've ever been to. I absolutely love the fact that you can tour U-96. Love the fact that they had the New York Central 999, which was supposedly the first steam locomotive to go at 100 miles an hour. They have one of the Zephyrs. They just had so much stuff in there that it was really hard to take it all in, and that hands down probably was one of our favorite parts of the adventure. But we wanted to spend an entire day in downtown Chicago. We drove down there, and we planned on plane spotting because Chris was still in the group, and that was Chris's main thing. We were going to the aquarium. We just wanted to explore Chicago life. We had tickets to a boat cruise. There were so much other things we wanted to do, and then we just got downtown, and like I said, what sucked was a day before this happened, something really major in my life happened, and we were not able to enjoy the trip the way we really wanted to enjoy the trip. And it sucked. But you know what? It was what it was, and that's why Denver came out to be a lot better. Day 3, we did end up making it up to Wisconsin to the National Railroad Museum. I finally got to see a big boy type locomotive, and we got to see quite a few other neat relics, including my first L&I engine, because I did not see 35 the day prior. My first Soline engine. there was a lot of cool things that we actually got to experience for the first time at the National Railway Museum, including the first UK steam engine I've ever seen. So there was a lot of gems, a lot of relics, and it was just fantastic. Saturday we decided to butcher our plan, and that's when we decided to try and just get one run of the 1630 and then fly home instead of enjoy a full day of 1630 action. Go to Ohio, drive halfway home, spend the night in Ohio, and then go to Cleveland the next day, and then go to this museum in Cleveland, and then head on home. No, by Saturday, because of the time we had, and because of how many cuts we had to take, and because of the fact, really, we just were all tired and everything, we drove home that Saturday. And we made it home by 9 o'clock my time. There's one thing I will say, it was during this whole adventure that this was the first time I considered ending the channel instead of going on these long hiatuses like I have been. I look back on the Chicago trip it had a lot of potential, and unfortunately it could have been better, but like I said, predetermined things that happened beforehand. It's too bad we couldn't have pushed it back a week, because if we could have pushed it back a week, it would have been a better time. And I remember that summer, I was also looking at going back to Chicagoland again to try and see the 1630 so I can make that video. That was probably been my first time to attempt 2 days of combining footage, but alas, I did not get that chance. It would be until 2018 when I would go spend Labor Day at the museum. And hands down, that was one of my favorite adventures of 2018, seeing the 1630 operate all day long. And I just got back to the museum this past year in 2021 and finally actually did a decent 4K video from the museum and actually got decent stills from the museum. Anyhow, though, this video is to celebrate our disastrous Chicago trip, which kicked off 5 years ago today, and hopefully this video won't be too late. Anyhow, I'm Christian, and I hope you enjoy my 5-year look back at the Illinois Railway Museum.
doing brake tests on.
slip a little bit. First off, if you watch the introduction of this video and you see when it was uploaded, I just want to apologize. It took me a lot longer than I ever thought to actually edit this, and that's because as cool as these videos were to edit last year, I'm finding a little bit of, I don't know what you want to say, it's getting a little bit harder for me to edit these videos as it is in general editing videos, which is one of the main reasons why I've taken such a long hiatus. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed my best catches at the Illinois Railway Museum. One of my favorite museums to go to. It is going to be a long time before I make the trek back there, but I hope that next time I go I can make it for a Labor Day event. Coming up next, if everything goes well, we'll be hearing a ghost of the New York Central Railroad in a railroad located in the South. Anyhow, I'm Christian. See you soon.